test every single time.
I practically chant it on the way to this computer. Remember to record. Remember to record. Get overexcited. Thank you once again.
I think Eve used to have a little
Alarm.
post-it on her screen.
I will immediately not recognize the post-it though. I'll just be like,
Yeah.
oh, there's that nice post-it.
Yeah, it's pink and lovely.
Looks great. Amazing. Oh, we need to go through your. Did you click share sound? Sorry, Lydia.
I'm just doing it.
Did you when you click the share thing on Zoom before this bit? Did you tick the box that said share sound? It's annoying. You might have to unshare and share again.
Changed. I don't want that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go through it together. Can you hear me?
Oh, no, I can't hear you. Great news.
Okay. Stop sharing. Let's put it in the chat.
Solve this.
Stop sharing. 1 sec.
Okay, give me a sec.
Okay, I'm gonna be. I feel so mean doing this.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Can
think
you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry, it's because
Okay.
I had some Bluetooth headphones in, but I think that's
Okay.
everything.
Did you click share sound?
I
Could you just
did.
give us a little whirl on this clip so we can see if we can hear it?
Okay.
It's just to test the sound.
Can you hear it?
No, because your audio.
No. Okay. So we haven't changed your audio yet. So if you go to your settings,
Okay.
go up to options at the top, in the big main menu for live.
It says share computer sound mono, and that's on.
No, that's what you've
I
got.
need to go back to the settings.
You've gone past that bit. If you just go to options at the top.
Okay.
Live options on the very top bar there.
Oh,
where
live.
Yeah. Okay, settings. Yeah, audio, and then in the no device.
Yeah.
Notice also, can I point something out? Just slow down. Slow down. Yeah, we can hear that. Can you stop it a sec? Right, we need to slow down 1 second. You're very speedy on the menus, Lydia.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to go back?
Yeah, I wanted to just point something out.
Okay, my bad. All right.
All good. Okay, in settings, just a quick one for everybody. Could you just go back to that drop down that you changed and put it to no device? Back to how it was. Okay, notice the orange on the bottom. It says the audio engine is off. Please click here. We know now orange at the bottom is a problem. Right? Audio, Ableton Live will not even play back the music in your project if there's no output. It won't even bother. So if you hit the space bar or click play and it just flashes and doesn't do anything, it doesn't start actually going through the track, it's because you have no audio output.
Okay.
So that's something to bear in mind. Also notice top right, you see it also says an orange off. So that's also indicating that there's no output and that the actual CPU itself has switched itself off. It's like, I am not working. It's on strike. I am not working until there's an output.
Okay.
Okay, so now we go back to your settings and yeah, please click zoom as you did. Thank you. Lovely. And we could hear it, so that's wonderful. Okay.
Great. That was okay. Do you want me to just play? Do you want me to talk?
Would you give us a little blast first so we can appreciate it and then talk us through it? Go on.
Appreciate might be a strong word. It's just 4 bars.
Lovely. Could you maximize the screen as well?
Yeah.
The smaller it is on your screen, the tinier it is for us.
Is that better for everyone?
That is.
Okay.
Thank you. Hit us with this tune. Nice. Very Sade.
Sade, isn't it? She's in my brain when I don't even know it.
So she should be. Amazing. Great work. Really, really nice. Nice balance of like percussion. Other people, thoughts, feelings, encouragements?
Oh, nice vibe. Yeah, it's got a really good vibe to it.
Yes, I like it. Oh,
Yeah.
really good.
Nice balance as well. It's like all worked really well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, some of it that I had more, but I've muted some of it because I didn't think it sounded as good when I was experimenting. So not everything you see here is actually coming out, if that makes sense.
So you folded it so we could only see the notes that were in use?
Yes.
Oh,
No,
how
as
do you
in,
do
for
that?
some reason,
Yeah.
the crash, like this is actually muted, but it still appears. I don't know how to get rid of it.
Okay. Could you just tell us how you folded it?
I press this fold button.
Do you see fold? Slowly
Yeah.
there. Yeah, yeah, there. Fold will, no matter what it is, whether it's notes of a chord or drums or whatever, if it's too much to look at, you can click fold and it will hide every note that you're not using and only show you the instruments here like crash, rim, bongo, hi-hat. It will just show what Lydia's used and it will hide, conveniently minimize all the other ones. And then you can click fold again and then all the other options that were on that drum rack are there again. Just the ones that weren't being used are being shown now. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I muted some of it and I added some bongos into the Corvair kit. I added
Nice.
this little shaker thing.
Cabasa, very nice.
Yeah. I think I added this rim sound.
Nice.
I like that better than the rim sound that was already there. I think
Yeah,
I
I
added
like
this
that.
one as well. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
felt, just for a bit of balance across the different sounds. And I was looking for a reverb on some of it. I think I wanted to
Okay.
add a bit of reverb on the kick, but I couldn't find it. So I just
That's
had to
not
play
in
with
the simpler. The simpler is about the actual performance. So think of it in a
Ah.
sense of like the drummer is not in charge of the size of the room they're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Reverb is creating this new space. It's basically picking up a drummer and dropping them in like a cave or putting them in a huge concert hall.
Yeah.
So that means the drummer wouldn't control that. It's something that we add to the drummer. But on the left-hand side, you have the macro, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, which has
Yeah.
all these, and there's a reverb dial there that you could turn up, and that will probably be applying reverb to, but it will probably apply it to the entire kit rather than just the
Everything.
kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I seen that. But yeah, so I had to go EQing some of the stuff like slightly, and that's as far as
Lovely.
I got.
Great work. I really like that. You can also preview the sounds using the virtual piano roll on the left-hand side. So you know how you've got that blue headphone thing linked. So you know the actual piano notes, those ones, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can preview it doing that as well.
Yeah.
Lovely. Great work.
Cool. Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, shall we see what someone else has done? But it's really, really great. Excellent. Yes. Who else would like to share? I will pick. Oh, hello. Becca. I saw Becca first. Yes, let us give you the power. Hang on. Oh my gosh.
Anytime I've tried to share before, it's gone horrifically wrong. So
Well, this time it's going to go smooth as a baby's butt. I'm sorry, I've just given everyone co-host for some reason, or some people. Allow, make co-host. Yes. Okay, it's happened. So you're clicking share and then clicking the share sound. Yes. There's a ladybird that's surviving in this bedroom and he keeps freaking me out and doing really strange stuff.
Oh, I love
Look
that.
at this blue backdrop with the lime green.
It's the vibe.
Yeah. Love
I can't
this.
remember how I did that. I think Eve showed us that right back in the beginning.
Yeah, it's in the settings bit in the yeah, it's cool that.
Right, let's see.
It's really helpful as well for those of us who are maybe like especially with neurodivergency, I find that really bright light screens, they're exhausting for everybody after a while, but especially for those of us who are very highly sensitive to that. So it's worth going up to, do you want to talk me through it, Becca? Do you want to just go to the settings, the Ableton Live settings? Yeah.
Yep.
Ah, you've not shared desktop. We have to share again. I'm sorry, fam. Can you stop sharing and share again? So don't click Ableton Live, share desktop, because if you click Ableton Live, it won't show us any of the gray boxes that come up, or the system things. So the first thing, either desktop or like the first window that it gives you an option to share,
Yeah.
choose that one, yeah. And then share
Okay.
sound. Sorry to be a pain. And then, yeah, if we try again, we should be able to see it now.
Okay, so where did I go here?
Yeah, settings. Wonderful.
Okay.
So if you just go to theme and colors, the one on the left-hand side menu, the second one. Yeah, so you've chosen
My
theme.
theme is an
angst.
angsty robot. Yeah,
Angst.
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah, so you can change the appearance. You can also, if you just click on Angst Robot, those are the other options. So there's like classic medium dark, classic medium light. There's a few different ones, but they're all darker or some like inverted colors and stuff. Whatever immediately pleases your eye, definitely choose that because you want to be wanting to spend time on this, and every little helps. Like comfortable
I
things
find
like
purple very calming. Purple's very
Yeah.
calming for me,
Yeah.
so that
yeah,
works.
amazing.
High vibe.
Thank you.
So should we just check the audio and make sure?
Yes, well remembered. Zoom
Yeah.
audio, phenomenal. Thank you.
All right, so there's my little drum rack over there. It's not completely full because, like I said, my brain had a meltdown, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just gonna start making beats now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Less is more. Less is more
Yes,
sometimes.
yes,
Start
that's what
that
I
way.
thought. And then I thought as I maybe start to build beats, I'll swap different things in and out as I go, rather than putting all that pressure to have it complete right at the very start.
Before you trigger it,
Yeah.
could you solo channel one? I want to hear it just the drums before these, because I can see you've got other instruments in here. There's off-world strings, there's a bass, there's an organ bass, 2 organ basses.
Wow.
I've also got
Lovely.
2 different beats going on in the artwork.
Wicked.
So this
Superb.
was
So yeah.
the first one I did, and it just had I did a little variation in it as well, but nothing too complex.
Ooh.
Yeah,
It's got a kind of Latin. Yeah, I love that. Added some tom ups in here, right? Oh, another kick.
Kind of felt a bit spiritual, but kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
So that was the first one, and then stop here as well. Why are you going? And then this was the second one.
Ooh, okay. Double timed.
Yes, so I tried the little triplet thing in this
Yeah, I love
one
that.
on the closed hi-hat. And it really, really did kind of change the sound. I quite like that. I quite liked what it did.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, excellent. And you messed with some velocities there. Was that
I did.
She's
I can't remember on what now though, but I did have a little tinker with that.
Well, I've got some shortcuts for that as well. We'll go over. Because velocity is a nice touch on like changing the performance of the track. Where obviously we talked a bit about humanizing the beats and humanizing the sound. This is great. Go on now, unsolo it. I want to hear these other.
Oh,
So you'll just remember to unsolo channel 1, the drums. So clicking solo again. Yes, lovely.
Oh God, this could be really bad. Oh no.
No, it's going to be wonderful. Oh, we've got 90s.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of acidy.
It's really ambient. It's got an ambience kind of back.
Yeah, it does.
I want to hear the strings more. Just a little bit more.
Just a little more.
A little more.
Nice.
Yeah. That's sexy. That's great.
Very cool. Amazing. What's the second scene? Does it say more? Because you got verse drums have changed.
And then this is the other one.
Oh.
Quite dark, this one.
Nice. So on the whole, this is great, honestly. Just a quick one, because I'm always pointing things out. What you just did with the fader. So
This
see
one.
the line at 0, we should never ever be going
Go
over that
above it,
fader.
right.
Like it usually should be way below, which means that the actual musician themselves is playing too quietly. So if you click on the Indian flute clip, it's because your velocity is so low, or potentially you could change the volume on the instrument, just as where you're hovering now. Click on the Indian flute, and then it doesn't really give an option for volume. So let's go to the actual notes themselves, the sheet music. And then if you select those, so you could click anywhere in the grid. Yeah, lovely. Then we could, so here is the velocity along the bottom. Do you notice those nodules underneath along the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are on their own scale. In fact, I might swap over to my computer to show this just because I think it'd be easier to see what's happening with the screen cursor. But this is really amazing. This is amazing work. For you, right now, you could use a shortcut where just hover over what that first C3 note to the actual note itself, right? Now hold down Option. Are you on Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold down Option.
Yeah.
It's not that one. Hold down Command.
Oh, you bastard.
Make sure you're hovering over the note. Yeah. Yes. So hold that there.
Ah,
So this double-sided arrow happens, and if you click and drag down now while you're holding that, it will take the velocities down. It's playing it back to you. Now take them right up. Click and drag it up. It
Yeah,
needs
I
to be the
lost it.
double-sided thing. Yeah.
I lost it.
Ah. Yeah. Louder, louder, louder. There you go. So you can hear it.
Yay.
Well, that's-
Okay.
So it goes from 0 all the way up to 127 of velocity. And velocity literally means, in this virtual sense, how hard the flute is being blown, or we think about it in a sense of playing piano, how hard you're pressing down on the keys.
So is that when you press option?
It's when you held down Command, didn't you, Becca? in the
Command,
end?
yeah.
So when you're
Okay.
hovering over the note, so if you're writing
Yeah.
notes, you need to hover over the note itself. It needs to be
Yeah.
selected as well.
Okay.
And then as you hover your cursor over it and hold down Command,
Right.
that double-sided arrow should turn up.
Right. Okay. Got you.
And if you click and drag up or down, rather than dragging the note, because it knows now you're doing the velocity, it will increase that. But I am going to swap over to my side and just show you a little bit about velocity now on my thing. Thank you for that there. That's really great work, Becca. Amazing.
Yay, we got sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a flawless share. Let me show you just quickly on this velocity thing. Right, so I'm just very quickly going to go to our old pal core library. And I'm just going to go into a MIDI clip and I'm going to grab probably a bass line. Oh, she fell at her own hurdle. Here it is. Okay, no, this one. I thought that was going to turn into my mate. My. Right, going to speed it up a little bit. So I've just dragged this in because have you noticed that I just dragged that piece of sheet music in, a MIDI clip, into a blank. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Wait a sec. I'm just going to get rid of some of these. We don't need them all. And I drag it and I'm holding it underneath. So there's actually no channel where I'm holding it, right? If you look to the right, it's not actually on a channel. But when I let go, it automatically created a channel and it put the custom instrument in there. It gave me a drummer of choice. That is the one that's auditioned on this. So automatically Ableton can do that for you, right? But so I'm in the sheet music, opening this out. Okay. This is exactly why you'd want to fold. Look at all these potential notes, and I'm not even using any of them, right? So this is an example of when you would click fold. So that it's actually a doable, like a workable thing. Obviously, you're going to do that once you're ready with the music. But yeah, so now I have these. And when I click on this, I want you to notice what's happening down here. This is our velocity lane. It's shrunken down here. See how I'm using this to just make it a bit bigger. And we can see we've got 1 all the way up to 127 of velocity. Right? Every single one of these little batons corresponds. See, when I hover over it, it lights up the note above. Hover, hover, and it lights, hover, and it lights. It represents the velocity of each note underneath the note. I can either do what we just did, hover over a selected note, right? And press Command until that thing appears. And then as I go up and down, I'm clicking and dragging up or down vertically. I can change the velocity like that, right? So I can take it right down. Look at what's happening to the color of the note as well. It's visually showing me it's duller, meaning it's quieter than the others. So I can cherry pick some of these things as well. We call this cherry picking, where I'm actually just holding down Shift and just selecting random notes or several notes that I've decided are too loud. And I'm going to hold that down, and look, all of them go down at the same time. So you can do that with your hi-hats, you can do that with anything. Any MIDI note could be changed the velocity. And the more it varies, the more human it sounds, because humans don't play like this, where it's the same velocity all the way along. You want a bit of variation. You can do it like this, but obviously if you perform in live using a MIDI controller, the MIDI controller will be measuring your velocity. So these will be all over the place because a human has played those notes in.
There's an option to humanize it, Pops, isn't there? There's an option where you can select
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
Would you
there
use
is.
that?
Not much.
No.
I'd like to circle back to that. At this point and where we're at, I want to just stay on track with what we're doing here, because that is part of another kind of element of Ableton Live. But you can, but it's important to me that you know how to do it manually first rather than using things like that, because if you just use that and you wanted to change things, you wouldn't know how to change it back, if that makes sense. So yeah, there is, but we'll talk about some of those little features down the line a little bit. But yeah, so these are the velocities. So it changes drastically. You can have really quiet notes. So let's listen to it now. This sounds robotic to me. What does everyone else think? Listen, imagine like a bass player. Da, da, da. They like it. That, because it's a ghost note, is coming right down. That as well is coming right down. So are you. I've got it in for you as well. Right. Still, it's sounding a bit better. This is still too prominent. Starting to sound a little bit more human. I just want to take this right down. See what happens here. Better. It's not the most responsive instrument to velocity, but we get the idea. And that's, so if we were to do it, if I change this to a drum rack, for example, I'm just going to quickly load up. Yeah, I wanted some hi-hats. That's what I'm listening for. So if I load this up, and I'm just going to right click and make an empty MIDI clip. And pencil it, for example. Yeah, you can just basically, oh, and here's a beautiful thing about the pencil. If I get, so those have all been recorded in at quite low, right? But if I get, look, they're all on the same thing. It's just going to sound, ooh. Right, it's a lot going on, but it all sounds identical. You can actually pencil the velocity and make some random, that for me is what I'd use rather than that automated thing. Like if I want to mix it up and be random, then I'd rather have a bit more control over it. So, so you can hear, especially if I focused on making the velocity high at the beginning of each thing, at the beginning of each beat. So if we start off and keep these quite low, you can really change like the actual vibe of what's going on. Yeah, and just sort of like focus it and just have it a bit more like that rather than it's quite a big difference to the performance. And even on things like if I move this to a kick, it really changes the, I like that. So it really changes how they all sit. So yeah, velocity is a very good one to start getting your head around and start messing around with, especially if you have, like, as we saw with some of those lovely triplet hi-hats that we just saw, having them sort of surge in a way where, let's say it was just these, I would almost like do it, I'd probably pencil it, but do it so it's like a flurry, like a surge upwards. Can be a really nice, well, that's a kick drum. Can be a really nice In fact, even quicker. I want them to be even quicker. I'm going to change the resolution down and make them even smaller. And I can actually just make all of them smaller because they're all selected like that. I want them even more rapid. Just going to move these like this. So something like this. But if it was just the 4 with no, if I just do the velocity as exactly the same, this is very like robotic and different. So yeah, definitely look into some velocity for like softening certain notes. Finding sounds, right. The thing we're going to do next, I think, is going to really help with what you've mentioned about finding it quite frustrating, finding the sounds that you want, and training your ear. Training your ear, definitely, active listening is amazing for that. Active listening is amazing for that. Which is like listening to your favorite tracks, and really trying to analyze like the actual kick. Better yet, if you have the track, and you have like the MP3 of it, you can drag it into Ableton and really like loop it and listen to it again and again, like really zoom in on these sounds. But I think the other side of it is what I wanted to do with everyone today, which is talking about customizing drums and using the simpler, which some of you have ventured into, I think. We're all going to load up. If you want to use the last project you used, then by all means. But it could be good to just start again with a new drum rack from scratch, which you all should be an old hand at now because you've had a go at making a drum rack from scratch. But actually, it might be good. Yeah, maybe definitely. I would prefer you to use the one that you have been messing around with already. So load up that project. And I'm going to load up a preset pretending that it was one I made earlier. That'll do, I like it. I'm going to program in. Okay, stick to this side. And then program in a beat of some nature. Just giving everyone a chance to. Oh, I hear what it sounds like. Oof, no. Better. I do love that sound. Does anyone know how that sounds made live on a conga? This one. It's actually disgusting to watch. I love it. You have to lick your thumb and run it across the top of the conga and hit it at the same time. It's so unhygienic. I love it.
You can do it on a timpani as well by using.
Amazing. Oh, love that. They need more of that in timpani recitals, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's something you get asked to do for grade 8, but then you never get to use it.
Oh, what? I would go rogue. I'd be doing them all the time. In the middle of the most inappropriate time in like Mozart's Requiem or something. Okay, sweet. So as everyone's loading up their kits, I've made a fake beat. Let's hear it. Play, click on. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Okay. So we have this loaded up. This is our sheet music, obviously. But what I would like us to focus on, and I've already messed up by loading a drum kit that isn't on. I had a feeling this might happen. Sorry, everybody. I just want a disclaimer that I have had the most appalling monthly pains today, and my brain is a little bit soft because I've been like, so I apologize. I'm drugged up to the eyeballs, but I'm still making loads of mistakes. Okay, so what we need to do is we actually need to go together to core library because I'm not sure everyone's drum kit's going to look the same, and I apologize, but we do love going to core library. Don't pretend we don't. So packs, core library, and then we're going to racks, packs, core library, racks, then into our drum racks, and I'm going to find one that we can all use. Sorry, I didn't realize the chat. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I missed this question. The chat wasn't showing me. You've done a Google and it says, why is it not letting me actually read your message? It's putting emojis over everything. Yes, Alt. So sorry about that. I will keep an eye on the chat better now. Thank you for answering one of those questions. Right, so what we need is a drum rack. I'm going to go into electronic. Maybe let's go for Chicago kit again because I know I can trust it.
Are we starting up? Are we setting up a new one?
We are. I'm just trying to find one that looks right. Well, I'll explain what I mean by looks right. Using all this other, don't forget that one that I just mentioned. Ableton's changed a load of stuff. I love them so much, but sometimes I get caught on the hop. The Corvair kit that was used before. Okay. Could we load up the Corvair kit in the acoustic drum racks? Inspired by the Corvair from before. The reason I've chosen this is the other ones look different, and I need one to show you all that has the simpler built into it, whereas the others are now, since Ableton 12 came in, there are some other combinations and some that don't like show themselves like this, aesthetically don't look like this. So the Corvair kit, Corvaire, drum racks acoustic in our core library in packs. Okay. So we have our drum rack that we recognize, right? We have the 16 that we're used to. We remember that there's octave treachery that can go on, but luckily all of these other ones are empty and it's fine. We're sticking to the octaves we're in. But what I want to draw attention to, and that was mentioned before, is the simpler here. The simpler is honestly one of my favorite elements of Ableton Live. It is simpler than the sampler. It is literally a simpler version of the sampler, but it's so powerful. And some of the stuff I'm going to show you that it can do is nuts. It's actually nuts. And it's going to very much help you train your ear to think about what kinds of qualities you like in certain sounds. Okay. So the simpler is a tiny, there's 16 tiny little simplers here. If we click on the different sound sources, their own simpler will come up. Each one has a simpler, and you've probably guessed it. This waveform on the right corresponds, and as we can see, the playback head moves through. So when you hit it, when you're looking at it, so you click on it, you can see it, and we can watch it be played through on the right-hand side. Now, we haven't done variations yet. Okay, we're going to do variations in a sec. So I just wanted to point out a few of the qualities of this kit, or of this of the simpler itself. So we have our waveform here. We also have 3 different modes on the left that are going to come up as very important very soon. And I don't know how many people have used the sampler, an actual external like OG sampler, like the MU ones and the Motu ones and all those ones. Has anyone had an experience with them at all? Has anyone been in a room with a dude who won't actually let you have a go on it, but it tells you all about it? Chuckles. I knew there'd be a laugh. Yes, we've all been in a room with a sampler, but are we allowed near it? I'm not sure. Okay, so samplers really, they were obviously sampling is very heavy in hip hop. The reason hip hop exists is because of sampling, where the original producers were sampling loops or tiny segments off old disco records, off their parents' records, repurposing them, sampling another beat, gelling them together, rapping over them. Extraordinary innovation in music, and started an entire genre and an entire mindset. So samplers obviously are very sacred in that world, and can often be surrounded by quite a lot of that kind of behavior of like, it's kind of gate-kept a little bit, I would say, but yeah, but they are amazing. And simpler is a virtual version of one of those. It's like a really simplified, but in a beautiful way, very, very powerful tool. And what it is that we're just triggering these samples of a rim, of a kick, of a snare, of a tom. But you can put anything in simpler. So bear that we're just doing drums right first, right? So if we look at our kick, just triggering that. It's quite nice. It's a live kick, so it's got this kind of fluffiness to it, hasn't it? It's not like any of the If we listen to like some of the other, let's give an example of another kick. Like if I go through and have a listen to like maybe one of the other ones in the core library, samples, one shots. So for example, if it's like, that's very like squashed. that's very like subby. Do you know what I mean? That's much more dance music, isn't it? You're more likely to hear that in a garage track or house or techno than you are this. That sounds like a live drum kit. We can even hear the ring in the room. Can you hear? You can almost imagine the room it's in. Hearing that little tail at the end. And we can see the tail at the end. If I turn this up, the gain up, look how long it rings on for in that room. That's all still sound. Just it's decaying over time as sound does. In fact, I'm just going to drag that one in so we can see it. Let's have a look at this one. Look at that. It even looks wildly different. When I trigger that, huge waveform, really chunky, but gone kind of quicker. And look, it's so symmetrical. I can tell that this kick was made by a machine because it looks like it. Look, that is like a perfect drawing. It's like when someone makes unbelievable art and you're just like, this is witchcraft. How have you done this? And then we look at this kick, which is live. It's messy, it's live. It's a physical, do you know what I mean? It's way messier, but also quieter. So already these are the things that I want to draw your attention to and start to think about, right? We have ways of sculpting these hits. We call it sculpting. And this is what I want to hand over to you all. So what I'd like to do, and this is going to be alarming, I know, but you've already had a go at doing this. I want you to go through these very carefully, click on the top row, these top 4, each one, click and then delete. Just press backspace or delete, click and just clear these off. You can also right click and delete if that's easier. Just get rid, I'm going to get rid of quite a few of these. Okay, leave the bottom row, but yeah, get rid of all those top ones. Okay. Once you've got rid of those, then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that kick and have a look, right? And I'm actually going to drag these next to it away. I want you to just clear some space. So now there's room, just drag the things next to it away. And I want you to leave 2 gaps to the right of the kick. And then a gap and a gap. So just move that stuff away. We can worry about that in a bit. And obviously this is great for you to know that you can, if something feels weird and you want your hi-hat somewhere, it's like, oh, I just don't want it up there. We all have the kind of preference. You can drag these around and customize them yourself. Okay. So the kick is there. Is everyone cool? You've got your kick and you've got some space next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do is we are going to, we're in classic mode for a start. So classic mode will just, yeah, it will just play all the way through. But what I want to do is just switch it to one-shot mode. So make sure you click the kick and click on one-shot mode. It won't make any difference right now that it's in one-shot mode, and I'll explain that in a bit. So if you split that to one-shot mode, you'll know it's in one shot because now there's a blue thing behind it, right? And what I want to do is I'm going to show you first, but I'm going to pass this over to, well, maybe we'll share some on screen and everyone will talk through it together, yeah? So first things first, I like this kick, but what I want to do is I want to make some variations of it because I want to try and pretend that a real live human being was kicking this drum. And what we know about a live drummer, we know so much about drummers that we don't want to, but unfortunately that's life. But we know that you can't humanly keep kicking or keep doing the same action exactly the same with exactly the same force every time. We saw that with the velocity, didn't we? Where it was just one line. People don't play like that. And the best drummers in the world, they do all kinds of stuff off the beat. How they push the beat and how they use the force or less force makes us fall in love with them as drummers. So we want to try and emulate that. And how I'm going to do that is I'm clicking on the kick and I'm holding down Option, and I think that'll be Alt for anyone on PC. And I'm dragging across. Now look at my logo, look at my cursor. There's now a little plus, like a plus sign, isn't there? There's like a little page of the plus next to my cursor. This is because I'm holding down that button. I'm holding down Option or Alt, and I'm dropping it here, and it's made a perfect copy. It's made a duplicate of the one before. Right? So in this
Can you
new...
Can you do that again, please?
Yeah, no problem. Clicking and holding on the kick, clicking and holding on it, then holding down Option or Alt. And as you drag to the right, you'll notice that when you're hovering over an empty space, there is a little white plus page or plus piece of paper showing me that it's going to do that action. It's going to create another one. It's duplicating. And I drop it there. And I can rename, because we can rename everything. I can do Command and R or right click and rename. And I'm going to call this kick 1. I'm going to right click this new one and call it kick 2. These are identical at the moment, right? Ooh, almost hot swapped. These are identical at the moment, but I want to change this one a bit. And the first thing I'm going to do is come over here to the simpler controls, and I'm going to fade in a little bit. Have we done this? We haven't covered this yet, have we? No, cool, just checking. As I click and increase fade in, I'm going to do it quite drastically. Look what happens over here at the beginning. It's like a fade in. A literal fade in. I'm going to click with the magnifying glass and zoom in. So when you hover over this, it gives you a magnifying glass cursor, and you can click and drag up or down to zoom in. Right? As I increase that fade in, it is changing the performance of this kick. If I'm really drastic, and it's going to pretty much shave all of that off, everything that's in the dark there, we're not going to hear now. When I click, so this is our original, and this is the new one.
It's not doing it for me. It's also it went across and it changed the it disappeared from the first one and it changed it to the name to instrument drum rack. It still kicks, but it changed the name to instrument drum rack, and it's only gone into 2. It's disappeared from 1 now.
Yeah, you weren't holding down Option, I don't think.
I was holding down the Alt. ALT, yeah.
Can you press Control and Z? Or yeah, Command like Control and Z and just undo what you've done.
Hang on.
You could also just go up to Edit and undo, change, or undo what you've just done.
No, it's still it's not doing it. It's still saying it's not doing it. It's still got instrument.
I think you might need to undo again then. You've done some other stuff since then. Do you want to go up to Edit? Can you see on my screen?
No,
and the first thing, whatever it says up here, undo, click that.
Yeah. Because I'm having to go between 2 screens. So,
yeah, that's not helpful for you, is it? Bless you.
Yours edit. And
then undo.
Edit. Undo. Right, yeah, it's gone back to kick.
Okay.
Okay.
So for you, you've got to be... Is anyone else on PC? Am I wrong about it being Alt then? Does it work for other people? Is there someone else on PC in the room, like just to confirm? Because I'm not on PC here, so I'm just trying to... Yeah. Did Alt work?
It didn't, but am I meant to hold it down on as well? Is there something else I might do?
But I'm worried it's not Alt on the thing.
Should we try some others, some shift and some, see what we get?
Well, yeah. I mean, so you've tried Alt and you've held it down and you've been holding the button down and dragged across and nothing happened. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks. Oh, I think it's Control.
It's Control then. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, that's me. They've changed it. So, yeah, that should work for you, Stacey, if you hold down Control instead.
Ah, yes, that's done it. Yeah.
Super sorry.
Thanks,
My
Minnie.
fault. Yeah, nice one. Thank you. So we've made this new one. So, yeah, right. So, original one, new one. We can only hear the tail, which makes sense because we were listening, we were observing that tail, and I've shaved everything out, like the actual event itself as a sound has been carved away. So I'm going to bring it right back. Right. Very subtle now. And then I can do a third one, Option or Control. And this third one, I'm going to make even softer. I can just do the tiniest changes. So listen to the 3 different ones. Original.
Nan said in the chat that she's having troubles.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Why
can
is
we
the
stop
chat
and
not
help?
coming up on my thing?
Oh.
Yeah, come on. Let's Nan, do you want to share your screen? Please feel free to shout out as well. But the problem is that when I'm sharing, it doesn't show me the chat.
Sorry, I'm having my computer.
Don't be.
It keeps freezing, so it's a slightly less different problem. I've changed all my. I got a fancy new keyboard. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can show you with it. Now it's freezing. I've got a fancy new keyboard. Oh, there we go. Which I was really pleased with, and I've been setting it up today. But that means everything's all over the place.
Okay.
So
what do you mean everything's all over the place?
Well, my second screen is not working. The sound keeps going off. I think I need to update the drivers. So I'm probably not the best person to share screen, because I think what somebody mentioned about the what's it called? Not the drivers, the kind of firmware or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem, because it's doing all sorts of weird things.
Oh, bless you. Okay. Does anyone else need to? Is there any other issues coming up at all? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back into the share. Right. So I've made the third one. First one. Pull. Second one. Can you hear that? That's much softer. So now when I go into the and unfold, and look what does unfold. We have our 3 kicks down here. So I can actually vary these. I'm just going to get rid of some of this, though. We don't need that action going on there. Oh, yeah, yeah. So now we should be able to hear like some slightly different variations. It's subtle, but it does sound a bit more live than just the same.
I want to burst into Tom Jones. It's not unusual.
Right. But can you hear the difference? How boom. But that sounds it's all the same kick. This is a difference. Hear that? So all the same instrument, all kicked slightly differently. And we've been able to do that. So that's one way of sculpting these hits. Another way, so we have fade in. You've seen fade out, which actually affects how quickly it stops. This, because it's quite long, as I've increased the fade out to maximum, it doesn't even affect it. Look, it's already over by the time it's got to the fade. So I could actually move this flag up and like really shorten it up. That's a bit crazy, but let's listen to this one. Long, short, long. So now, so by taking that tail away, it sounds like it's in a completely different room, doesn't it? It's in a tiny little enclosed room now. Here it's in the big one. So subtle things like taking the tail away can really change the illusion. Again, exactly the same drum kit, but you can really start to sculpt some different sounds. So fade out can do that. And we can also choose to transpose it. Can anyone tell me what transposing means?
Changing its key?
Changing its pitch. You can transpose key and you can transpose pitch. Yes, absolutely. So transposing is literally just moving it up or down or wherever you want on the note itself. Weirdly, drums are also notes. So if we actually click and drag down or use the arrows, getting lower, really low now. So we can pitch it all the way up. Starts to sound, actually, I'm just soloing it. Doesn't even sound like a kick anymore. That sounds like a tiny little tom. You can actually really change the qualities of things all the way down. That's a bit much. I wouldn't want to be next to a speaker when that was playing. I think I'd fall over. And and that's back to the original. You can always double click these things. If you go too far and you're like, oh no, you can double click it and it goes back to default. So I'm going to pass over. Somebody is going to share their screen. Just checking on the chat. Who would like to offer who has not shared yet? Do I have to pick on someone?
I haven't.
Oh, hello. Hi, Emma. Yeah, come on. Let's have a share.
Okay.
Hang on, let me just give you the co-host powers.
I've not been around much either, so I'm kind of catching up.
Okay, well, I'm really pleased you made it. And
Okay.
I'm sure, well, we're all in this. We're all in this together.
Okay, so do you
Did you click share sound? Sorry, I keep
I
missing.
did the sound, yeah. I don't know
Wonderful.
whether
So if we
Can
go
you
up
hear
to
that?
live, not yet. We need to
Oh,
change the
okay.
settings in live. Lovely. And then the output to go. So input could be whatever, but output, yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. We should be able to hear something now. Ooh.
Oh, I can't, so I need can you hear that?
No. Your input, yeah, that'd be good to change that to whatever microphone you're talking into.
Okay.
But let's just test it again.
I can't hear this.
No, nor can I. So you clicked share sound when you did the Zoom?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah,
there's a
it's
little,
shared sound, yeah. It's all blue.
what is happening?
Hmm.
Yeah, this is
No.
strange.
I can't see the I hate that
When you
part
say
at
it
the
was
top.
all blue, what did you mean?
Well, when you press share,
Yeah.
if you tick it, it's blue. Share sound is blue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
I
was
don't know what's
yeah.
happening. Why does it do this to us? What could be the
MacBook.
No, that shouldn't. The input wouldn't make any difference.
Oh.
I don't know what to suggest here.
Does the MIDI thing have to be on a computer at the top, the little piano thing?
That sends it to the actual. It's when you're wanting to play it on a computer.
Oh.
We should be hearing something.
I've got headphones in. Let me take those out just in case.
No, I mean, you're sending it to the Zoom audio device. It's just something strange is happening.
Yeah, I'll I've taken the headphones out now. No. It's weird.
That's really weird. What should we? No, that's all fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean we should be hearing it. That's how it should be set up. Oh, that's so frustrating. Okay, could we give the share to another person and maybe
Yeah,
you
sure, no
talk them
worries.
through? So sorry.
That's all right, don't worry.
Okay. Other Emma? No. No. Okay. Anyone else who would like to? Nan, not so much. Siobhan, how do you feel? Hey,
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Right, let me just get my brain in gear. So I need to share.
I will give you the power. Everywhere.
Share
Make
sound.
co-host. Make co-host. Oh, it's letting you anyway.
Share. Right.
And let's go up to those pesky settings and see what's going on. You haven't shared desktop. Would you mind going back and sharing desktop? Sorry. This is our rule. This is our mantra. It's got to be desktop or I cannot help you. So stop the share.
Does that work now?
No, you have to
I have
start
to
the
stop
share
it.
again. Yeah, stop the share and start again.
Right, how do I stop it?
I'm going to stop your share. One sec. Stop participant sharing.
Thanks.
Okay. Someone had to stop you.
Right.
Did you click desktop?
I think so.
Can we do it slower?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, fucking hell.
It's all good. I'm gonna. Here we go. Okay, so click share, and then it needs to be the top left one. It's probably called desktop.
Top
Not-
left, live
yeah.
untitled, desktop. Yeah, sorry.
Desktop, yeah, not live. And then share sound. Lovely. This should work now.
Share. Right. Participants can now see your screen. Ta-da, can
And
you see
then,
that?
yeah, and in the Ableton Live settings, gorgeous.
Do it slow.
Okay, Zoom output's already set up. We should be good to go.
Right. Okay.
Let's give it a blast just to hear for 1 sec. Do you want to play us something? Just anything. Yeah, we got sound. Could you maximize your Ableton so we can see it?
Yeah.
I'm judging your desktop as revenge.
Don't. Right. So that works. Now what would you
Wonderful.
like me to do?
So we are going to, above this, would you make some space? So just above where, above the kicks that you've made.
Above the kicks.
Yeah, so basically above what we've done, kick 1, 2, 3, yeah. I would like you to do 3 versions of the snare. So you probably want to drag that tom and that hi-hat out of the way.
Drag that somewhere else. Can I delete it? I'll just shove it there.
But you can, yeah. And then people are going to talk you through how you're going to make variations of that.
Okay.
We need to talk you through. Yeah, you've done it completely.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Oh, wait, I do. Okay, talk me through.
Emma Gale first. Did you catch it? Did you catch what we were doing, or do you want to?
Sorry, do you want me to?
Yeah, we're talking Siobhan through.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that. Sorry. Okay.
Making the duplicates.
So yeah, what you need to do is click. Are you on a Mac? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to keep down the Option key.
Yeah.
And at the same time, drag that from the box there to the box on the right, and a little plus will appear. Now drop it.
Oh fuck! Sorry.
Oh.
That was me.
Nice.
It was me. It was me. That was right. Sorry.
Okay, and on this second one, what are we going to do? How do we rename it? Could someone else? Yeah, Emma, you tell us how we're going to rename it.
Oh, sorry. I would suggest right click. I've not renamed mine, but I'm.
Yes, a good guess.
I don't know if that's the right thing to do.
If in doubt, always right click.
Yeah.
And it will give you your options.
Right click it. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe name it snare 2. Press enter.
And then do the same for 3.
Well, what I would say, could we slow down? 1 sec. Thank you, Emma, very much. I'm going to pick on somebody else. On this, what I would say is make your changes to snare 2 first. And then we'll move on to, and then we'll make another variation. Because if we use the second variation and drag that over, half the work's already been done, right? Yeah. So who would like to talk us through? Shania, do you want to talk us through, have I pronounced your name correctly? Sorry.
Yeah, you have.
Lovely. Would you talk us through maybe how we would, first I'd like to make this a one-shot because it's not lit up blue. I don't like that.
Okay, so you click the snare clip and then you click one shot over there, and then when it's blue, you've got it. And then you do the, little special effects. You go to fade, and whilst you've clicked
which fade? There's 2 fades. There's fade in and fade out, and I'd like you to fade in. And what does fade in do?
It makes it a bit quiet before it actually starts, if that makes sense. So rather than hearing the whole, say, the snare or the tom fully, the first little bit of that tom would be silent, and then it would just come out full sound.
Yeah, it carves a little bit off the beginning, so it's slower to come in, right?
So however much you want to carve off of your one shot snare, just click on fade in, and you can just scroll up whilst you're holding it.
Should I play it? See what that sounds like in comparison.
Yeah, let's play the original. Nice. Yeah. Ooh, it sounds like a roll. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you want the second one to be that extreme? Or would you like to go on a gradient of how extreme? Just a suggestion.
What should we do?
I think you should make it a bit more, just a bit more cut out a bit more of the first bit. Yeah.
So more extreme.
More extreme. Okay, let's do it. Wicked. Excellent work, Shania. Could
Thank
somebody else now talk Siobhan through the process of now how to make this third variation? Who have we not heard from? Little purple goth. Not heard from you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I noticed my microphone was being a so-and-so earlier. Right. So we're making the third variation, yes?
Yes.
So, so it would be select the one you're going to use as a third variation. So that would be, if you're making the snare variation, we highlight it, hold it down, and then Option, and drag across to the cross.
Done it again. Right, I'm just gonna do that.
It takes me at least 3 times before I get it.
Yeah, it'll be muscle memory soon.
Well, it's true, but it's also like older hands and finger and touch things don't necessarily work first time because the electrical signal doesn't fire.
I hear that.
Okay, and then
what are we going to do on the third variation?
We're going to do this.
And how would I even know it was a third variation if it's called snare 2 as well?
So you need to rename it as well. So let's rename, top of that list, and then call it snare 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gorgeous. Do something drastic. Do something crazy. Come on.
Right, have we done the transposition yet?
No.
Okay, so first thing, zoom in so that you've got so that the wavelength is more visible.
How do we zoom
That's
in?
it. Click on it and slide up or slide down.
Yeah. So and then move it.
And then use transpose on that one. And perhaps
up or down?
I think take it down.
Or should we do an octave? Is ST, does that mean octave?
Semitones. That means semitones. So 12 semitones is an octave.
I'd do 5 semitones to go with the other sounds that you've got already, because that should.
Come on, finger. Right.
Also,
see how that sounds.
For that moment, just one second. For that moment where the mouse is too much, remember, if you click and the brackets appear around any of these parameters, you can
arrows.
Up and down arrows, exactly.
Yep. Sorry, I shouted that.
Yeah, but there's good for things like that, semitones, because you can you can keep playing it back and just up, down until you're happy with the sound.
Okay, should I try doing that?
Let's hear it.
Well, this is the original.
Yeah.
That 2.
Yeah. Nice. Ooh. Can we change the performance of the third one?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to pick on someone else. Thank you very much for that. Who shall we? Minnie, how are you? Would you like to talk us through this transformation on this snare, please?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the performance. I'm still lost the plot of that one.
So I'm thinking of the performance. I'm trying to think of, the performance for me is the performance of the snare, how the snare is hit. And we've changed that by messing with the fade-ins and the fade-outs.
But you want to do another option?
Well, the third one has exactly the same, is performed exactly the same as snare 2 because it's a duplicate of it. We've just transposed it. So I'd like to change how it's being.
Oh, so if I just.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, we haven't done a fade out, have we? Sorry.
No, we haven't.
Sorry, my brain.
No, don't be sorry at all. I put you on the spot.
No, not at all. I was. So yeah, I guess should we send that back to neutral, like take the fade in off?
Yes, that sounds good.
Or we'll be left with very little, I guess. It's got quite a short, actual loud tail, hasn't it? So I guess we might want to actually should we crop it first?
What would we do to crop that?
Oh, do we want to get the little slide? Sorry, I'm leaning right in on you all. It's really small on my screen. Do we need to just grab the slider at the end and pull it in?
The flag on the far right.
The flag, that's the one.
Fly the flag. Get that in there.
Where to? Tell me when to stop.
Should we be a bit more? Should we be quite savage and then fade it in from stop?
Yeah.
Stop. And then fade in from here. Fade out.
Fade out, yeah?
Yeah.
Diddly da. See what that sounds like?
Yeah, let's have a listen.
Okay.
Could go a little bit more.
Fade
right?
out some more. Fade it out some more.
Yeah. Huh? More?
No, or maybe do a little bit of a fade in.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little nudge of that. Yeah.
And maybe bring that so it's even more.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, nice.
Now that's louder now, isn't it? Oh, because of the other one's got a...
It's the fade at the
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
fade
Let's
at the
hear the
beginning.
first
Yeah.
one.
So the first one, wait, let's look at it. Normal. Should I put that on one shot?
Yes, well observed. Yes. Nice. Very different. Excellent. Right, I'm going to pass over. Sorry.
No, just while I've got you all at this late stage in the game, how do I get the spectrum up? I've got the drum kit, but for some reason can't figure out what button I need to press to get that view of the the sound wave.
Oh, so it's as simple as it's not there.
No, so I must
Are
have
you
just
on
not
Corvair
pressed.
kit?
Yeah, I've been able
Okay.
to follow along with everything else, but I just haven't got the actual.
All right. Would you mind sharing screen? Because I'd like to talk everyone through this. If that's all right. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Well done. Oh, I
Okay.
somebody else on mute. Sorry. Great work.
Sorry, I've probably done something really obviously stupid, so apologies, everyone.
No, not at all. It's really
Never stupid.
Nothing is ever stupid. These are all problems we will all come across, and we will remember it even more so because one another have talked about it. So share sound and make sure it's desktop.
Yeah. Oh, where's my hasn't popped up yet.
In the meantime, for other people as well, if you want to have a look on some of the other hits on this drum rack and mess around with the fade in and fade out and transposing and just having a listen to how different it sounds.
What if I've already done that?
Then just do some more or just sit tight for a sec. Yeah.
All right.
Do I want entire screen? Is that what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Is that, yeah. Cool.
Pops, after Minnie's been, I've managed to get my screen working and
Hey!
managed to catch up, but
definitely.
it's dropped off the end for some reason. So maybe after Minnie's.
Absolutely. That's absolutely. So, Minnie.
What am I doing?
One sec. So, that is strange. There seems to have been something added at the end of
Mine's exactly the same. I found it if I
It's
double click
dastardly PC
on
people.
it comes back. I don't know why.
1 second. So, sorry. So, Minnie, could you have you changed your settings in live so we can hear it?
Oh, hold on.
So, options?
There it is. So it's hidden behind there.
Settings. Yeah, now the output. Yeah, if you could change speaker to Zoom. Oh, we had this problem before.
It worked last time, didn't it?
Let's see.
Should I just hit something?
Okay, so we can hear it.
Cool.
So I'm not sure why this has happened, but the fact is something's okay. So devices are made up of lots of other mini devices. How fitting. And I'm just going to request remote control for a sec.
Cool.
Okay. So over on this side, no, something really weird's happened to yours. Sorry, 1 sec. Oh. Ah, I see. Okay. So this is a bit advanced, but this is damage control for when this happens to all of us, right? On the left-hand side, I might have made a mistake. Because for me, I always think that my screen cursor halo thing is here, but they can't see that when I'm on yours. Do you see on this? Right, so you see here where our things are, the octaves. Can you see where I am, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here along the side is actually the contents of what the Corvair kit is. And it's going to look very stressful suddenly, but this is behind the scenes. I don't know if I used this analogy before. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but if anyone's worked in a bar before, you have a speed rail, which is all the booze that everyone drinks the most because you don't put it right on the top shelves, like all the shelves of booze behind you. Rather than having it mixed in there and having to go through all these whiskeys and all these whatevers, you just have like the speed rail of popular stuff. And that's effectively what the macros are and what this is. This saves us having to, imagine if you drove your car and your car was see-through and you could see the engine and all the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes. I think it'd be stressful. So this is our dashboard. This is just like someone has made it so that we just see what we need to see. On this side here, we have these different buttons and these open out different elements. Now, when you were doing something, maybe, or maybe at another point in your travels on Ableton Live, you've unchecked this one, which is showing you the simpler. It's showing you the actual device itself.
Oh. Sounds about
So
right that I just
when that's
pressed
hidden,
something.
but the problem, this is the thing with Ableton Live, and this is the only, it's not even a criticism, it's just an observation. The only negative of learning something like this is that Ableton is very efficient, which means that this clicking on the wrong thing, one wrong thing, can be a millimeter away from something completely different. So it's about, and gradually with time and spending time on it, you will naturally just become more careful on these things. I don't mean you, I mean everybody. I am more careful on things. I've accidentally deleted things because I wasn't clicked on the right thing. When I've tried to delete one of these hits, I've deleted the entire rack because I actually had this selected. I didn't realize. So it's just a case of just being a little bit. And so when I apologize if it comes across as brash and I'm like, slow down, but I encourage you to just still try and slow down a little bit on some of the stuff you're doing until it really is like absolute muscle memory of what you're doing and what you're not doing and what you have highlighted. So is that there? That's solved it. So you can see them now,
Thank you.
hopefully. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
And then you just want to change to one shot so it's lit blue.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Lovely, no
Thanks.
problem. So I don't think we've got too much time for a break. Do you want to have a couple of minutes? Bathroom break, people. Little bathroom. Well, so many nods then. Bathroom
Yes.
break. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Should we come back in let's just do 5 minutes and come back for just before past, yeah?
Yeah.
Wonderful. See you in a sec.
Bye.
Hello, hello.
My son managed to use my 5-minute break to ask for bread and cheese. You know, and it's like kind of, you can get bread and he's 17, you can get it yourself. It's like, please, just come and show me where the cheese is. I can't find it. Back of the fridge. And me, like an idiot, helped him. I don't know.
Bless him. A selfless break.
Yeah.
So jealous. I want cheese. Okay, so we've just looked at some fading in, some fading out. Everyone happy with that? Everyone happy with the transposing?
Yeah, my problem, Pops, is that the edge of my screen isn't it's not showing the very far right of the bottom of the screen, and it won't. Yeah, the far right bit. So I can
have you maximized this into the to fill the screen?
Yeah. But as I say,
is it because you're working? Are you working between two screens?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to, and it's
are they mirrored? Is that why?
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe it thinks it's working between two screens, even though my other screen isn't working. So don't worry, I'll faff with it. It's probably taking too long. But that's my only problem. I can see all the settings except that.
Well, in that case, I mean, what should work is then if you just hover over it and just make the screen fit it to size, and then it should appear.
It won't do it.
Very strange.
Anyway, I'm sure I'll figure it. It's probably to do with the settings that I'm faffing with anyway.
Okay.
I don't have the settings that are on the bottom of that one. I have a lot of them missing. I've got.
That's because you're not in one shot, fam. It's not blue, is it?
Yeah, it's clicked on one shot and the thing's blue.
Yeah, and what do you not have?
At the bottom, all I have is I have the very far one. I have fade in. That's all. Then I have an HZ, whatever that is, and an LFO, and then a res and a frequency and a filter. That's all I have.
You're not using the Corvair kit, are you?
It said I think I did.
No, you're using. Does it say Corvair kit in the title of the device?
Hang on, let me just go back. Yes, Corvair kit.
What? That's literally impossible. Could you load the Corvair kit again? I just have a feeling that you may have clicked a few things and not noticed, and they might have changed. So it doesn't look like this. It doesn't have the filter here. It has the LFO. It doesn't have this.
It has all I have is I have filter, clean, then frequency, res.
Okay. Yeah, so
LFO,
these. LFO, and then that.
HZ, something, and then fade in.
Yeah, maybe you're only seeing some of the device. You should be able to see fade in would have fade out next to it, transpose.
No, I haven't got
I've just solved mine in settings for a display, and I've taken it down from 100% to like 78, and it's
okay. That's
hang on then.
I can see all those bits, Stacey.
I can't tell, Stacey, if you don't have them or if you just can't see them.
Yeah, I couldn't see all of them, and I've just reduced the zoom, to 78% rather than 100%, and I can see them now.
How do you reduce it?
I think it's in settings, which if you're on a Mac, is it options settings?
I'm on a laptop.
Okay, so it's on
is it a laptop Apple or is it PC like a Dell or something?
Windows, it's a Windows.
Oh, Windows, okay,
so it's options, settings, and then display.
Well, do I go into file?
No, options at the top.
Options, yeah.
Live
options.
and settings.
Setting.
Options.
Does it at the bottom of the options thing, does it say
settings? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Settings.
And then a thing that says display and input.
Yeah.
And then
it's got 100%.
I've just reduced the zoom to like 75, and I can see everything now.
Ah, yes.
Has it worked?
Yeah, I've only gone up. I've gone to about 92 and it's done it. So yes, thank you.
Lovely. Sorry.
Solved the problem today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I've just got some time, and I need to squeeze some stuff into this half hour because I need to get us on track for a couple of things. But really, really well done. Right. So we've done transposition. So we've got fade in, fade out, transpose. Volume to velocity is not something we need to worry about too much right now. It's how sensitive the keyboard is to how you press it. And then volume is the volume that comes out of that. I wanted to just quickly look at the filter, right? Filtering is a funny one. Sorry, someone have a question? Okay, sorry. So filtering, this is the beginning of really getting stuck into sound design and thinking about sound. Here comes a cooking analogy to help, right? Sound and how sound is made up is like a lasagna. The lowest layers of the lasagna is all the low stuff. So any of you ravers who used to be by the speakers and you like to be like boom, 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 like that. Yeah, I knew Becca would nod, right? So any of that low end stuff, that's in the lower lasagna layers, right at the bottom with the subs. And it's usually why the speakers that play them are on the floor in the club and they're big, weighty, right? The subs are on the floor. Above that lasagna layer, we have things that are also low, but not that low. Low things like, your bass guitar, or low things like the bottom end of a piano, anything, or even like a male voice that's singing like, one of the tenors where they sing down there. And as we go higher, it gets higher and higher. So we get all the way up to something like hi-hats that are very like up here. And I'm sure, I think a lot of people know about, like when you're a kid, you can hear bats, for example. You can hear them squeaking, but over time you can't hear them as an adult because we lose that frequency range of being able to hear that. That's the very top of the lasagna. So a child can hear a bat, but an adult can't, especially ones that have been near the sub speakers in a club. You will never hear a bat again, my friend, right? So this is how sound exists. And all the instruments, when we get to like mixing and thinking about that, all these instruments have to sit in their lasagna layer so that we can hear them properly. A lot of them live in the same layer. So we end up carving space for them so they can all exist in the same layer and we can appreciate their flavor. And it's often why kick drums and subby basses are the worst things to mix because they are fighting for their bottom layer. We have to find a way that they can both be heard and they can both exist there. So to carve these things away, one of the techniques is filtering, and effectively EQing is filtering, but right now we're actually just hard filtering. This is filtering now. A kick, such as this, lives low down in the depths of the lowest lasagna on the whole. This one is quite, because it's live, it's not quite as low as like, do you remember that other one? This is low in the lasagna. That's right down there. Right in the bottom. This is still down there, but not nearly as low as that other one, right? So the filter here, which should be activated, if it's not, turn it on, that yellow thing next to the filter. If it's off, you'll see that this is all gray and isn't even responding to you. And when you switch it on, the filter, it becomes active and is ready for instruction. So the filter has a shape to it. We are going to go over this a lot more next time because, again, I know this seems like we're just going over these drums a lot, but I'm using these as an example in somewhere familiar to start talking about things that are going to come up repeatedly. So this filtering comes up in all aspects, not just beat making. So the filter is an interesting one. And hang on. Interesting. I wonder why it was on that. So I just changed the shape of it. Now for the kick, I need this filter to be like this. So it needs to be curved like this. Do you see that shape? So use that drop down and put it to the top option. This will become clear to you why it's that shape in a second. So I need that top shape there for your kick. Make sure you're on the kick. Okay, so we've selected that. And our frequency, the frequency is the main player, right? What the frequency does, it tells us where in the lasagna to carve away. For some reason, I'm lashing out at my dinner guests, and I seem to now, I'm shaving the top layers of the lasagna off because I don't want them to taste that. I'm not happy. Maybe I burnt it. Or maybe I just don't want them to hear the top layers, okay? So I need to carve these away as subtly as possible potentially without anyone noticing, I've carved away half a lasagna and I'm trying to serve it to everyone, right? So to do that, I tell it to carve it away at a certain point. When it's all the way at the top, it's letting all the lasagna through. So think of my lasagna as sort of bent around like this, right? But as I bring it down, these are the top layers I'm carving away. They are the black part of this dial is what everyone's not eating in this lasagna, right? So when I press the kick, and I'm actually just going to program this kick in, and we're just going to listen to this kick so we can hear it clearly. It's just going to play for me in the background, right? I'm going to highlight these and press 0 to just deactivate them, and I'm just going to let this loop around, right? Back to the device. This is it fully. Can you hear it? Did you hear that frequency? Do you hear the room that any quality of it? As this starts to go down, disappears. It's getting duller and muddier, isn't it? I can barely even imagine. When it was up here, I can imagine a drummer kicking, you know, the little drum pedal that hits the drums. I'm imagining, I can hear that hitting the skin of the kick drum. But as I take it down, that action, that hitting the skin, I can't hear anymore. I can't hear the little or nothing like that anymore. And it only gets duller as we go down. Because we're taking away those frequency ranges. Sometimes you'll hear anyone who's into their old R&B, especially like 2000s R&B, right? There'd always be a music video where it'd probably be Alicia Keys or something, and they'd be at a party, right? And then they'd always break to this moment where they're talking to somebody, so that this would be happening in the background. And then it'd be like, they'd come out of the party and it'd be like, hey, I'd seen you around here before, like all this. And that filter's been applied because what it's doing is it's actually acting as the wall of a party. When the door closes, those frequencies are not coming in. It's cut the lasagna.
Is that
So
like
when you
movie
go on,
scenes? Is that like in movie scenes? as well,
exactly, when the party's inside, exactly, and the doors close, we hear it like
Club
this.
Tropicana.
Yeah. So, but you know, whenever they use it for drama, it's because those frequencies are being cut by the materials of a wall, of a door, of windows and stuff. So that's why we're hearing that kind of change. So we're getting rid of those frequencies. So handing over to you, just have a quick go at, maybe you can play it live, or you can just, if you've programmed the kick in, just start to filter away those top frequencies and listen to the difference.
How are you making it loop like that, Pops?
I have just I've looped the actual sheet music up here because I just made a 1 bar.
Ah.
Yeah, I've just got it going.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so you can hear a big difference here, right? Now, I want to just talk about this shape. The shape that you selected, and I needed you to select for the kick drum, was that shape for a reason. Because I needed to carve from the top layer down, right? Turning that, I needed the upper ones to disappear, because I know the kick lives down near the bottom, down in the depths. So I'm just going to show you, not to overface anyone, but we're just going to do this together. At the moment, on the right-hand side of our simpler, my dear sweet simpler, right? We're in the sample section. That's a no-brainer. That's the sample. So we're looking at the sample window. So we can have a look at our sample. We can watch the fade-ins. We can see what's going on with it. There's another tab called controls. I want you to ignore this other stuff, but this blue line, oh, look, does that shape look familiar? That is the filter. This is the filter. And this is representing the shape in which it's going. And the reason it's the shape is because the lower down here, and this is the same in all DAWs, in all music production. Left is low, right is high. Left is low. So the lower subby ends live down here, and the higher ones are up here. And I'm just literally grabbing this little circle because it helps me move this around, right? And you can actually see the dials moving as I move it. And the equivalent of me moving the frequency down here on our dial, just as you did, was you were carving away. So everything above this line is what's being cut away. The only lasagna that's getting served at this dinner party, people, is under this blue line. And we can either use this jobby to move it manually, which I often do because I'm doing it by ear, or we can use the dial as we just did.
It's like, it's reminding me of that film, you know, that film called Kingsman, and there's that scene in the church, and the bum, as he's going mad, a bum goes off, and the music just kind of fades out, and then it builds back.
Because the bomb goes off, and it's a really clever thing where they're doing it because he's lost those frequencies. We're hearing the sound as he hears it after he's been next to it. So everything sounds, exactly. That's a perfect, So that, it was representing the fact that the frequencies in his ears were all whining because of the sound, and all he can hear is it sounds underwater and muddy. Perfect example.
Oh, man.
Is there a way of like when you're recording it in, or you're pressing record, is there a way of recording that? And recording that into this other view?
There is. We are covering that. It's called automation. I was going to cover that in the recording session, but you can absolutely do that. It can get a bit wild. So for those of you, this is for you and anyone who feels comfortable with it. But basically, as you're recording, the same as anything else, right? Notice I don't have the channel record enabled because I'm not recording any music right now. I'm hitting record and I'm playing the track. It's about to play, right? I'm playing the loop, and then watch what happens. Ableton completely betrays me. Why have you not done the automation, you clown? Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So because we're in this mode, this is where it gets complicated. I think I might need to go over this another time because there's something I want to hit. We've got 15 minutes left.
Yeah, don't worry.
Basically, you need to do it in this mode because it's time. It's a long time. And as you're going along like this, and I start to move it round, it's recording that, and it's actually putting red dots next to the elements that it's moved. But yeah, that is definitely something we need to slow down and focus on at the time. Great question. I just have to wait to show you in context because then you have to do all this, deleting the automation. We're going to spend some dedicated time on it. So this was for the kick because the kick lives down here, low in the lasagna, right? If any of you still got a hi-hat, you got a hi-hat on your drum rack? Yeah. If you don't have a hi-hat, you could choose something high like a snare, and actually, how would you make that sound higher? Can anyone tell me? I'm just going back to the sample here.
Transpose?
Transpose it, exactly. So you'd go into it, one-shot it, and transpose it right up so it's really up there. And almost sounds, listen, we can get this almost sounding like a hi-hat. Doesn't sound like a snare anymore. So you can already hear, if I shove a snare right up into the higher bits of the lasagna with transpose, that's to sound like something completely different. Because it sounds like one of those little ones you get, like the Brazilian ones, because again, it's tiny and small and it's tighter than a snare, so it's going to sound like that. So yeah, you can get it right up there, or if you've got a hi-hat, then go for this. I want you to select something that's high like a hi-hat up here, or highlight that snare, please. And once that's highlighted and you've one-shotted it if it isn't already, go back to your filter. And now, because this is a very different sound, we need to flip the shape. So I'm flipping the shape so it's going the other way. So it's like the left-hand side of the moustache. And I'm going to go to controls and have a look at it, right? Now, and this makes sense when we look at it, right? Hopefully, because we don't need the low. There is no low in a hi-hat. I'm going to now program a hi-hat in. Well, I've got a hi-hat in, haven't I? Yeah. zeroing these off so we can't hear the kick anymore. Right? And now, I'm going to play this hi-hat. How dare you? Why would it be still playing if I've... That's weird. Why? How is that happening? That's super weird. Oh, it was playing the other side. I'm with you. Right. Never mind. Ignore me. Here's my hi-hat. It's a bit quiet. Going to take the velocity up. Okay. Now, there's almost no effect because it doesn't live low like the kick does. But as I move it up, or I move the frequency the other way, because obviously it's behaving differently, it starts low now and goes up. We start to lose loads of the qualities, the lower bits of it. Can't hear the actual metal being hit. We're hearing all of that up there. One more thing to point out before I show you something really fun on this, right? Because I will hand this over. This is going to be part of you having a go and getting used to it. Sorry, there's something in the chat.
Emma's leaving out of the chat. She's got to go.
All right, bless up, see Emma. Okay, so we've got this the other way around. But you may be wondering what resonance is. Resonance is something that always intimidates everybody because it's always taught in the most ridiculous, over-the-top way. All resonance does, all you need to know about resonance is that it exaggerates. Wherever I carve the lasagna, it's going to exaggerate that point. Look at that. Look how it behaves. So wherever I set this, it exaggerates it. And listen to how it sounds. And as I move it up, it's going to get really intense. If I take it down, see what I mean? It's massively exaggerating where I've left it. So same if I did it on the kick, just going to go back and do the resonance on the kick. Okay, if I go back to the kick and do the resonance here, we can really hear some right? And then as we move it down, pretty space age, a bit sci-fi for me. Quite exaggerated. Very Fatboy Slim. What we're doing with it, what we're doing with it, what we're doing with it. Yeah, very much like all that stuff. So, resonance just exaggerates where you left it. I just wanted to get that clear because it's always taught in the most over-the-top, non-accessible way. So I would like everyone to have a go with messing around with this, taking it further and messing around with some of the filtering. But I'm just going to show you on I'm going to actually just bring up a simpler on its own because this is a drum rack with simplers attached to each one of these buttons. But I'm going to create a new MIDI track and I'm going to go to instruments because simpler is an instrument. And I'm just going to the title. This is largely for the purpose of the recording as well. I know I'm moving a bit faster, but I just want to get us on track for something that we're doing next time. Simpler is getting dragged onto the channel, onto a MIDI channel, because it's a MIDI instrument. There it is, innocent, naked as the day it was born, no sample in there, nothing, right? I'm just going to show you what happens when you drag different kinds of samples in, because I know we've been doing a lot of beat stuff and I know that we want to maybe think about some other things. So I'm going into Core Library and into the samples, and I'm going to go into loops, and I'm going into something tonal. Why not? I'm going into keys. Dirty Herbie. That'll do. No, actually, it's not interesting enough. No. Okay. Just dragging this in. Sorry if there's a hum. Unfortunately, that seems to be happening on this keyboard, right? So instead of a one shot, we have a whole piece of music here. And I'm just showing you classic one shot and slice are different in these ways because I want to wow you with slice and leave you with that so you can go off and mess around with it and make mistakes and see what you think of it, right? Classic mode is a classic sampler. I click and hold down on my keyboard, and it plays all the way through. Look at that playback head, it's playing all the way through. When I let go, it stops. When I play lower, it gets real sexy and slow. If I play a bit higher, so the lower I go from its original note, the slower it is, the lower it is. The higher, the faster. Yeah, okay. That's classic mode. It needs to be clicked and held to go all the way through. And you can use your keyboard as if it's in keyboard mode like this. Or you can use a MIDI controller, and it will automatically, if your MIDI controller is set up, automatically each key will start to trigger these, right? One shot, where we had it before, can be a problem with long things like this. It was fine when it was just a hi-hat, but if I press it once, I'm holding my hands in the air, it's going to play all the way through without me automatically for me. So I would use that, let's say I'm doing a massive gig and I want to like trigger some huge sample of like Brian Cox talking about the planet or the universe. I would hit it, and I know that Ableton's now playing that all the way through. It doesn't need me to hold it down all the way through. So that's quite helpful to just trigger it and it goes off and does its own thing. But what I want to entice you all with is Slice. Have you looked at Slice before? I love Slice, but what I want to... Did you go through all the different ways of slicing by different transients? You did? Oh, so I'm not even wowing you. Okay, well, do you know about the sensitivity?
Steve gave us a Missy Elliott sample, and we were tasked with making a track with it.
Oh, gosh. So I'm not even showing anything right. Okay, sweet. So Slice is amazing. It slices everything up. I thought it'd be helpful going over this. Okay.
I would appreciate you going over it because I can't remember anything.
Okay. What it's done is it's sliced every single bit of this to each of my keys. So each blue line is one of my keyboards. Which means that if I put effects and fun stuff on it, bit of reverb, then I can trigger each little section and repurpose it. So rather than it being all of that, I can turn the sensitivity down because it's a bit too sensitive. You see how it's just got lines on every little event. It's at the beginning of every transient, but I'm telling it it's being too sensitive, which I would never say to another human because I don't like getting slapped. And you can actually like trigger these things. You can transpose, fade in and fade out each slice. So I can make them, I can turn the fade out and it shortens these all up. I can transpose. Or fade in. So straight away we've got more of like a synth now. Fade in, going up, back up. Transpose it right up. Very Snoop. Frequency, remember all the things we've just done? I'm going to change it round to, yeah, I got that first one. So I can take the frequency right down. So I'm just showing that you can do all of these things on any type of any piece of music. So you've got a Missy Elliott a cappella there. But have you had a go with it with different instruments?
No, and that's really helpful actually to go through it again and yeah, like Lydia says, to be reminded actually, because you know what it's like to do it and feel like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then like I haven't actually been back to it since we learned it.
Right.
And so it's really cool to have a look. Thank you.
It's really,
I'm really pleased because I've forgotten it.
Okay, wicked. So basically, we've got the slice by transient, transients being each one of these sounds. Sensitivity can go down to make bigger chunks for longer, rather than it being like so sensitive it's chopped every tiny little bit up. You can also slice it by beat. So if your sample, especially, we're at the sample, look, it's 115 BPM. That's what it tells me in the title and what it tells me in the browser. If I get it to 115 up here, 115, enter, right? They're the same now. So it's been chopped up perfectly by beat. So it's all nicely chopped up by beat all the way through. I can change the divisions of those, bigger, smaller, quarter notes. Really helpful if you've dragged in a full-on drum sample. So if you've got like the drums from Kendrick Lamar's whatever, then you can chop that up and replay it as a drum kit yourself. You can also do it by region. Region literally is, I don't know how many people have worked in like an office environment in particular, where there are relentless birthdays and cakes come out, and you have an uneven number of people you have to chop the cake for. Basically, this is like telling Ableton Live, hey, you got all this cake, I need you to fit it into 3 slices. Or I need you to fit it into 4 slices or 7 slices. So that's all region does. And then there's manual, where you can just double click and tell it where you want to trigger it. So if it's like, yeah, a Missy moment, where you've got the whole Missy Elliott thing and you just wanted to say, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I'll crack your teeth, then you can like literally go and click on the beginning of her saying that and just trigger that and just have that on one key. So you can manually decide what it triggers and where. It's an extremely powerful tool. So for your assignment, I would like you to continue into a bit more drum carving. We're doing a bit more sound design. So this is now, you're in a bit of sound design now. Bonus points if you get another simpler standalone next to your drum rack, and try and find a piece of music, a sample that is not drums, could be something else, and have a go at maybe slicing that and playing it or programming that next to your beat. So mine is obviously not the most imaginative beat, but if I go to the Rhodes here, so I'm just going to go back and set it to transients, I can always, I need to find where it is. Yeah, here we go. So I could always pencil it. Turning the volume up a little bit. Turning my drums down. See what I mean? You can immediately start to get some cool ideas going. That was quite good. What the hell was that? Doo-doo. Yeah. Sorry. That'll be me for the rest of the evening.
It's a vibe.
It's really good way of starting to get some sounds going, some textures or whatever. Because what it is like, obviously with the MIDI instruments you've been using, they're great, but they're a bit limiting sometimes, right? So if you actually go and sample things, or even some of the music that you love, be cheeky, we're not releasing this yet. You know, drag that in there and have a mess around with like chopping certain bits of it. You'd be very surprised what comes out of it. And also listen, when you're using these filters and using the fade in and fade out, just by doing that, you are already starting to train your ear in sound design. The qualities you like, what you don't like, really heavy bassy subs and things that live in the bottom of the lasagna, and everything else you layer on top of that. Just by engaging with this and going and just doing this assignment and spending a little bit of time, okay, the hi-hats, I quite like it muddy, or I like it like this. You're literally training yourself in sound design right now. So give it some time. It can be tedious. Sometimes you're going to make some hideous sounds. It's all part of the fun. All of it. Yeah, okay, amazing. I'm going to make a note as well of people that I'm going to pick on next time. Because we've not heard your share yet. But yeah, great work, everybody, this evening. I hope you go off and be inspired and make some interesting stuff. I can't wait to hear more. Is everyone cool? I've got a couple minutes. Is there any questions? I know we don't need to crack on, but any really burning questions? Wicked. All right. Have a great time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Forget next week is Thursday.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's on Thursday.
Next week is the Thursday. It's the one that I had to move.
Right.
It's the one Thursday one. I'm going to send an email out again. I'm so sorry. It's because I can't get out of this other thing on the Wednesday. So just a one-off Thursday, same time next week.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Blessings, everyone. Bye-bye.